Flashback to a tense negotiation. Virgin, seated in his grotesque splendor, defiantly eats slimy grubs, his wide mouth curling into a sneer. Virgin, you humans are so dramatic. A few wild animals, and you cry apocalypse. Weaklings. Hayes, those wild animals were bioengineered killing machines, infected with a fungus that turns mammals into zombie-like hosts. You tried to exterminate us, Ambassador. We have proof. Virgin laughs, cramming another handful of grubs into his mouth. Virgin, proof? Even if that were true, the Council won't care. A harmless prank at most. Hayes, thousands of my people died. You call that harmless? Virgin, maybe you should have been stronger. Didn't you humans claim to be Deathworlders? Guess the galaxy overestimated you. Hayes's face hardens. His voice drops to an icy tone. Hayes, we'll see about that. Weeks later, Grunig worlds are plagued with sudden chaos. Laboratories researching bioweapons are mysteriously destroyed. The infection meant to cripple Earth now devastates Grunig cities. Desperate to contain the outbreaks, Virgin's government glass vast territories, but the damage is done. Virgin storms into a communication room, shouting at the view screen. Virgin, this is an outrage, Hayes. An act of war. Hayes, calm as ever, leans back in his chair. A red snack bag rests on his desk. He munches a bright orange triangle, crunching deliberately. Hayes, war? That's a strong accusation. Care to elaborate? Virgin, don't play dumb. The rabbits, your vile monsters, are ravaging our planets. Hayes raises an eyebrow, amused. Hayes, rabbits? You mean these? He pulls a small cage onto his desk, revealing a fluffy bunny with floppy ears and an innocent twitching nose. Hayes, this is Mr. Big Ears. He's a pet. Harmless herbivore. Virgin recoils, his voice a hiss. Virgin, harmless? They're devouring our crops, destroying ecosystems. We're facing a famine. Hayes, really? Strange, considering my species has lived alongside them for millennia without issue. Perhaps your agricultural systems are subpar. Cut to a montage of Grunig farmers battling waves of rabbits. Fields of alien crops vanish overnight as bunnies multiply explosively. The Grunig deploy fences, traps, and even armed patrols, but the rabbits persist. In the council chamber, Virgin pleads for intervention. Virgin, the humans unleashed these monsters on us. They've weaponized their wildlife. Hayes stands to respond, the epitome of calm diplomacy. Hayes, weaponized? Ambassador, we release nothing. Rabbits are not weapons, they're opportunists. Perhaps you should invest in better pest control. The council murmurs. Virgin slams a webbed fist on his podium. Virgin, this is a calculated attack. You'll pay for this. Hayes, we didn't break any laws. You said it yourself. Introducing non-sapient animals isn't a violation. Or are you admitting your inability to handle a few harmless herbivores? Back on Earth, a secret meeting unfolds. Hayes watches a live feed of Grunig chaos. The scientist beside him speaks quietly. Scientist, the rabbits are doing better than we anticipated. Their breeding rates increased in the Grunig environment. The fungal immunity is holding. Hayes, good. We'll send a few more shipments to test their resilience. He smirks, leaning back. Hayes, they wanted to play dirty. Let's see how they handle Earth's cutest conquerors. Hayes, perhaps next time you'll think twice before targeting humanity. You underestimated us. That was your first mistake. The rabbits? That's just poetic justice. ChatGPT. Grunig forces deploy desperate measures. Military-grade flamethrowers torch entire fields, but the rabbits seem undeterred. Geneticists race to develop countermeasures, but the bunnies adapt faster than expected. Each failed experiment leads to another costly setback. Virgin appears on a darkened council screen, his demeanor frazzled, eyes wild with desperation. Virgin, you humans will regret this. You've brought ruin to our worlds. Hayes, sipping a mug of coffee, remains unshaken. Hayes, Ambassador, I've repeatedly stated that humanity isn't responsible. Are you certain your worlds didn't simply mishandle the situation? Virgin, don't mock me. These creatures didn't come from nowhere. They're perfectly adapted to dismantle our ecosystems. Hayes, sounds like an environmental issue. Perhaps you should consult an ecologist. Back on Grunig Prime, rebellion brews among the populace. News reports show citizens protesting outside government buildings, accusing their leaders of incompetence. For centuries, the Grunig regime has dominated weaker species. But now, faced with Earth's most unassuming creature, their empire is crumbling. The Galactic Council grows impatient with the escalating drama. Several representatives begin questioning Grunig dominance. Secret meetings occur as members reconsider their alliances. A close ally of the Grunig confronts Virgin after a session. Ally, this is your mess. We can't keep covering for you. The humans are gaining sympathy, and the Council is listening. Virgin, sympathy? For them. They unleash this plague. Ally, you don't have proof. And frankly, we're tired of cleaning up after you. Fix this, or the Alliance might not stand behind you next time. Virgin glares at his once loyal ally as the alien walks away. In a hidden Earth facility, a military advisor briefs Hayes. Advisor, the bunnies have exceeded expectations, Ambassador. Grunig worlds are in disarray. Their agricultural output has plummeted by 40%. Internal dissent is skyrocketing. Hayes, excellent. How are our infiltration teams holding up? Advisor, no casualties. All traces have been erased. The Grunigs still can't prove our involvement. Hayes, good. Let's keep it that way. Ramp up civilian aid programs to neighboring species. If we play this right, we'll have half the council on our side by the time the Grunig collapse. Months pass. The Grunig are barely holding on to power. Planets once under their iron grip now seek independence. Famine and rebellion plague their empire. The council convenes one final session to address the crisis. Virgin stands before the council, visibly thinner and more ragged than before. Virgin, this is your fault. He points at Hayes, who leans casually against his podium, unbothered. Virgin, you've sabotaged us, attacked us in secret, and destroyed everything we've built. Hayes, Ambassador, I sympathize with your struggles, but baseless accusations won't help your case. The council needs evidence, not tantrums. A council member interjects. Council member, the Grunig have brought this upon themselves. For centuries, they've preyed on younger species, exploiting loopholes in our laws. Perhaps it's time we re-examine their place in this alliance. Cheers erupt from other representatives, many nodding in agreement. Virgin's face twists in fury and despair. Back on Grunig Prime, the rebellion reaches its peak. Protesters storm the Capitol, demanding Virgin's resignation. Meanwhile, a broadcast from Earth plays across Grunig networks. Hayes, to the citizens of the Grunig Empire, humanity offers its condolences for your current hardships. We extend a hand of friendship and aid in rebuilding your worlds. Should you choose to accept it, the message is clear. Humanity has outmaneuvered the Grunig without firing a single shot. The Grunig regime crumbles, and their former territories are divided among rising powers. Humanity emerges as a respected and feared player on the galactic stage. Hayes sits in his Earth office, watching the news. Assistant, sir, reports confirm Virgin has resigned. The Grunig Empire is officially dissolving. Hayes, good. That's what happens when you underestimate us. He leans back, a small smile on his face. On his desk, Mr. Big Ears nibbles on a carrot. The screen fades to black with a tagline. In the aftermath of the Grunig collapse, the Galactic Council convenes an emergency session. The chamber is packed with representatives, many whispering among themselves about humanity's unexpected rise. Hayes, calm and collected as always, addresses the assembly. Hayes, esteemed representatives, humanity deeply regrets the turmoil that has befallen the Grunig worlds. We understand the challenges of maintaining interplanetary ecosystems and are committed to ensuring such incidents are avoided in the future. He pauses, allowing murmurs to die down. Hayes, let this be a lesson, not just to the Grunig but to all species. We may be new to the Galactic Alliance, but humanity is not to be underestimated. We value peace, but we will not tolerate attacks on our people. A representative from a neighboring species raises a hand. Representative, Ambassador Hayes, are you denying that your species played any role in the collapse of the Grunig Empire? Hayes smiles faintly, tilting his head. Hayes, as I've said before, humanity strictly adheres to galactic law. If the Grunig's own arrogance and poor ecological planning led to their downfall, that is hardly our fault. The room erupts into debate, some representatives applauding Hayes' restraint, others eyeing him with suspicion. In the corner, a former Grunig ally whispers to their advisor. Former ally, we need to rethink our stance on the humans. They've proven more cunning than we anticipated. With the Grunig no longer in power, their worlds fall into chaos. Humanity steps in as a stabilizing force, offering technology, expertise, and aid to species previously oppressed by the Grunig. The gesture wins humanity new allies, many of whom pledge their loyalty and gratitude. A montage shows human engineers helping rebuild alien cities, farmers introducing sustainable agriculture, and military advisors training newly independent planets to defend themselves. In just a few short years, humanity transformed from a newcomer to a cornerstone of the Galactic Alliance. While some questioned their rapid ascent, none could deny their effectiveness. Representative, Ambassador Hayes, your species has proven itself invaluable. The Galactic Council is considering granting humanity a permanent seat on the High Council. Would your government accept such an honor? Hayes smiles, ever humble. Hayes, humanity is honored to serve the greater good of the galaxy. Together, we can build a brighter future for all. Years later, Virgin, now a disgraced exile, lives on a remote outpost. His once pristine robes are tattered, and his tusks are chipped. He watches a broadcast of humanity's growing influence, bitterness etched into his face. Virgin, those cunning humies, they played us all. Suddenly, a transmission crackles through his outdated communicator. Hayes' face appears on the screen, older but no less composed. Hayes, Ambassador Virgin. Or should I say, former ambassador. Virgin snarls. Virgin, what do you want, human? Come to gloat. Hayes, not at all. I simply wanted to check in. How's exile treating you? Virgin's fists clench, but he forces a bitter laugh. Virgin, you think you've won, don't you? The Grunig will rise again. You can't keep us down forever. Hayes leans closer to the screen, his tone turning icy. Hayes, oh Virgin, this wasn't about keeping you down. This was about teaching the galaxy a lesson. Humanity doesn't start wars, but we finish them. He leans back, his expression softening into a smirk. Hayes, enjoy the rabbits. The transmission cuts off, leaving Virgin seething in silence. Outside his window, a pair of rabbits hop innocently through the barren landscape. The Galactic Alliance thrives under a new era of cooperation. Humanity's reputation as a strategic and formidable force spreads across the galaxy. Planets once loyal to the Grunig now look to Earth for guidance and leadership. Cut to Earth, where Hayes stands on a balcony overlooking a bustling spaceport. Ships from dozens of species dock and depart, a testament to humanity's newfound prominence. Beside him, Mr. Big Ears munches contentedly on a carrot. Hayes, they underestimated us once. They won't make that mistake again. The camera pans upward, revealing the stars as humanity's anthem swells in the background. In the quiet corridors of Earth's high-security diplomatic compound, Hayes walks briskly through the halls, his expression unreadable. Behind him, a young assistant hurries to catch up. Assistant, Ambassador Hayes, there's a new report from the Galactic Scouts. A Grunig fleet has been spotted near the outskirts of our solar system. Hayes pauses, stopping in front of a large screen, displaying a map of the galaxy. The Grunig fleet, once a symbol of dominance, now represents a lingering threat. He taps the screen, zooming in on the coordinates. Hayes, it's not possible. The Grunig are supposed to be finished. What are they doing there? The assistant hesitates before speaking. Assistant, it seems they're not the only ones, sir. There are reports of other disgruntled factions, some we've never even heard of before. They're organizing. Hayes turns to face the assistant, his expression grim. Hayes, so it begins again. The galactic community is on edge. Factions of former Grunig allies have begun rallying under new banners, their strength bolstered by mercenaries, desperate warlords, and rogue factions seeking to reclaim lost power. They are no longer the coordinated force they once were, but their numbers and firepower are enough to cause concern. In a joint council meeting, representatives debate the threat. Council representative, we have received disturbing reports of Grunig ships crossing the border into uncharted space. If they are re-establishing their empire, we could face another war. Hayes, we are aware of the situation, but we're not the same weak species the Grunig faced years ago. Our military is stronger, and our alliances are secure. Let us not forget who now leads the Galactic Alliance. The Council murmurs, a mixture of respect and anxiety filling the room. The once divided factions now see humanity as the key to stability and as a powerful deterrent to any potential aggressors. Hayes, if the Grunig want to start another war, we will finish it. This time, we won't let them get the first strike. The tension escalates as news reaches the Earth capital of a growing resistance movement in the outer colonies. Some former Grunig allies, now unified under the banner of a new warlord, an ambitious leader named Kael'tar, have begun raiding Earth's trade routes. The Grunig's once loyal soldiers are now scattered across the galaxy, desperate to find a cause they can follow. At a secret military facility, Hayes meets with top commanders. Hayes, we've been sitting on the defensive for too long. It's time we remind the galaxy who we are. Prepare the fleets. Mobilize our allies. We're not waiting for them to strike first. The commanders nod in agreement, their faces stern with determination. Commander, we'll have the fleet ready in 48 hours. Earth's defense networks are stronger than ever, and our alliances have never been more solid. Hayes, good. It's time to show them that messing with humanity is a mistake no one will make twice. Hayes stands before the assembly as a holographic map of the galaxy spins behind him. Earth's military fleet, now the largest and most formidable in the galaxy, is ready to engage. His eyes are sharp, calculating. Hayes, we've identified Kael'tar's fleet. They're heading for our trade lanes. If we intercept them now, we can cripple their supply lines before they have a chance to attack our colonies. This is our first strike. Make it count. The fleet mobilizes, hundreds of ships, human and allied, preparing for battle. The atmosphere is tense but filled with resolve. The Grunig and their allies have underestimated the speed of humanity's response. The battle that ensues is a brutal one, but humanity's technology, tactics, and unity overwhelm the scattered enemy forces. The Grunig remnants, along with their new allies, are forced to retreat in disarray. After the battle, the galactic community watches as the remnants of Kael'tar's forces surrender. Their leaders kneel before Hayes on the steps of the Galactic Council building, accepting humanity's terms for peace. Hayes, let this be a reminder to all. Those who attempt to destroy peace will find humanity standing firm. He extends a hand to the leader of the surrendering faction, sealing the agreement. Hayes, we offer you a chance to join the Galactic Alliance, but it will be on our terms. Respect for peace, respect for the laws of this galaxy, and respect for all species, not just your own. The leader, a former Grunig officer, hesitates for a moment before accepting the gesture. The galaxy is changing, and humanity's influence continues to spread. Back on Earth, Hayes stands before a crowd at a diplomatic ceremony, accepting the title of High Chancellor of the Galactic Alliance. As the crowd erupts in applause, Hayes remains calm, as ever, watching the stars in the distance. The journey that humanity started on a distant, forgotten world has led them to the pinnacle of galactic power, but Hayes knows this is only the beginning. Hayes, we've proven ourselves, not through might alone, but through strategy, through alliances, through the quiet strength that comes from knowing the rules and how to break them. He glances down at a small cage beside him, where Mr. Big Ears hops contentedly, as always, a reminder of how humanity's greatest victory began with a simple, overlooked creature. In the dark corners of space, a new, mysterious fleet, silent and untraceable, lurks at the edges of known space. It watches, waits, and prepares. The rise of humanity has not gone unnoticed. A new challenge is on the horizon, and this time it may not be won through diplomacy alone. The camera zooms in on a shadowed figure at the helm of the unknown ship, a figure whose eyes burn with ambition and fury. A voice crackles through the darkness, soft but menacing. Humanity's rise has been impressive, but they will fall, just like the Grunig. It is only a matter of time. The camera cuts to black. The galaxy is tense. After the defeat of Kael'tar's forces, the galactic community seems to be on the brink of a new era. Humanity's position is stronger than ever, but there are whispers of a deeper, more dangerous force lurking in the shadows. Inside a secure council chamber, Hayes and his most trusted advisors sit around a holographic table, reviewing the latest intelligence. Hayes, we've identified several movements along the outer rim. They're not Grunig or their allies. These ships, they don't belong to anyone we've ever seen. Advisor, they're extremely advanced. Their tech is beyond anything we've encountered, even from the galactic powers. Hayes, I don't like this. Whoever they are, they're not just testing the waters. They're positioning themselves for something big. They've been out there gathering strength, and we've been too busy celebrating our victories to notice. The screen flickers with an incoming message, a coded transmission from a distant outpost in the unknown regions. Hayes listens carefully as the message is decrypted. Hayes, who are you? The unknown fleet, which had been quietly moving across the galaxy, finally makes its presence known. A single ship emerges from the dark void of the outer rim and heads straight toward Earth's orbit, cutting through the tension like a knife. It broadcasts a single, simple message. We have been watching. You are not ready for what is to come. Humanity's first instinct is to prepare for war, but Hayes, ever the strategist, is determined to avoid another conflict. He calls for an emergency diplomatic meeting with the Galactic Council as the unknown fleet looms in the distance. Hayes, this isn't a simple raid or an invasion. This is something else. They know we're strong. They're testing us. We need to be cautious. Council member, but they're not making demands. They're not attacking. They're just waiting. Hayes, waiting for what? That's the question. We need to learn everything we can about them before we make any moves. Days pass, and the unknown ship hovers silently above Earth. Despite their silence, the ship has begun transmitting cryptic data streams. Hayes and his team work tirelessly to decode the transmissions, hoping for some clue about the mysterious fleet's origins and intentions. Finally, after days of grueling work, they discover something horrifying. The fleet's transmissions contain data about ancient species, long-dead civilizations, and the rise and fall of galactic empires that once ruled the stars. The fleet is not only advanced in technology, but has also been traveling the galaxy for millennia, recording the history of countless worlds. Hayes, this isn't just some new threat. These are survivors. This fleet represents something ancient, a remnant of an empire that predates everything we know. They've been watching the rise and fall of civilizations, and now they're watching us. Advisor, but why now? Why after all this time? Hayes pauses, his mind racing. He realizes that the galaxy is on the brink of something much bigger than just the Grunig's remnants, a power struggle for control of the stars, one that could affect the future of every species in the galaxy. Hayes, they've been waiting for us to grow strong enough to notice them. And now that we have, they're ready to make their move. As tensions rise, the unknown fleet begins to make increasingly bold moves. Ships are appearing in key star systems, manipulating resources and sowing discord among the Galactic Alliance. Their presence is subtle yet undeniable, as if testing each species' limits. Hayes prepares for what could be the greatest diplomatic challenge of his career. But this time, there is no clear enemy to face, no single leader to negotiate with. The unknown fleet doesn't follow the same rules as everyone else. Hayes, we've dealt with threats we can see. But this is something we can't just fight off with a fleet or a few strikes. We need information. We need to understand who they are and what they want. The first major move from the unknown fleet occurs when they release a strange artifact onto a neutral planet in the galactic core. The artifact is a massive, black obelisk-like structure, pulsing with an energy unlike anything anyone has seen before. It's not a weapon, but its significance is clear. It's a message. The planet's governments, all nervous about what might happen next, demand an explanation from the Galactic Council, which has no answers. The artifact begins to send out an ominous pulse, a signal that seems to be calling something, or someone, from the depths of space. The artifact's pulse causes immediate unrest. Planets close to the neutral zone begin to panic. Earth, now the focal point of galactic diplomacy, is on high alert. The Galactic Council convenes urgently, and Hayes is forced to take a firm stand as tensions escalate. Hayes, we cannot let this turn into another war. We need to find out what they want. We need to understand their history before they force us into a conflict. But the pressure is mounting. The unknown fleet is watching, and their silence is beginning to feel like an accusation. Who are they really? And what do they want with humanity and the rest of the galaxy? After weeks of inaction, the unknown fleet sends a final, unmistakable message, a direct communication to Ambassador Hayes. It's a holographic transmission, and the figure that appears before him is both ancient and terrifying. A being of immense power, its eyes glowing with a faint, eerie light. We have waited, and now we will see if you are worthy. The transmission ends abruptly. A deep silence fills the room. Hayes, now realizing the true scope of the situation, stands tall, his face resolute. He knows this is just the beginning. The stakes are higher than ever before. As the unknown fleet advances, the Galactic Alliance begins to fracture. Some species, fearing the unknown power that is fast approaching, begin to rally to their own defense, breaking from the Alliance and preparing for what might be a conflict unlike any the galaxy has ever seen. Hayes, the situation is deteriorating. We need to act before they push us into a war we're not prepared for. The camera zooms out, showing the vast expanse of space, with the unknown fleet looming ominously in the distance, silently waiting for the galaxy's next move. Hayes, the stakes are higher than ever. The unknown is no longer just a mystery. It's a threat, and humanity will be at the center of it all. The unknown fleet's presence grows stronger as it advances closer to the core worlds. Ambassador Hayes is called into an emergency session with the Galactic Council, his nerves taut as he steps into the meeting chamber. His thoughts race through the endless possibilities of what could happen next. He knows the stakes have never been higher. Council leader, Ambassador Hayes, the situation has escalated beyond any of our predictions. The artifact is not only sending out signals, it's also been detected emitting subspace distortions, disturbances in the fabric of spacetime. We can't ignore this any longer. Hayes, they're not just here to observe. They've activated something. This isn't just a message, it's a declaration. They're setting the stage for something much bigger. The tension in the room is palpable. Different species of the Council are nervous, some openly questioning whether they should take preemptive action. Others suggest evacuations, but Hayes knows that running isn't an option. This is a moment where humanity will have to stand firm. Hayes, we don't have the luxury of time. We've faced challenges before, but we've never faced something like this. Our best option is to engage with them directly, diplomatically. There is no other way. Council member, and if they're hostile, if this is the beginning of something far worse, Hayes, then we fight. But we do it on our terms. We need to learn more before we act. The Council agrees, albeit reluctantly, that the next step is to communicate directly with the unknown fleet. A diplomatic envoy is assembled, led by Ambassador Hayes himself, with carefully selected team of human negotiators and diplomats. As they board the advanced human flagship, Titan's Hope, they know this mission could change the course of history. Hayes, we're not just representing Earth. We're representing every species in the galaxy. This is about survival, unity, and the future of all of us. Stay calm. Stick to the plan. We will make contact. As the ship approaches the unknown fleet, the communications array begins to pick up signals that are highly structured, not random. It's a pattern, a language, one that's ancient but remarkably sophisticated. Lead technician, we've managed to isolate a coherent sequence. It's not just a message, it's an invitation. The crew watches in tense silence as the communications officer decodes the message. The holographic screen flickers to life with an image, a figure similar to the one Hayes saw earlier, but clearer now, speaking in a voice that sends chills down his spine. Mysterious figure, humanity. You are the first to answer. The galaxy has forgotten, but we have not. You are now standing on the precipice of something greater than your understanding. Will you step forward, or will you falter like those before you? The transmission cuts off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. Hayes knows the time for hesitation is over. The mystery deepens. The figure they've encountered seems to be part of an ancient, possibly extinct race, one that had once ruled over entire star systems. The fleet they command is unlike anything humanity has ever encountered, vast, ancient, and seemingly invincible. Hayes takes the decrypted transmission to his advisors. They pore over the text, trying to understand the significance of the warning. Hayes, they're not just testing us, they're offering us something. An opportunity to prove ourselves. But at what cost? Advisor, an ancient empire, what does that mean for us? Have they truly been watching us all this time? Hayes, it's more than just a history lesson. If they've been monitoring the galaxy for millennia, they know everything about us. Our strengths, our weaknesses, our potential. They're waiting for us to take the next step to either prove our worth or make us an enemy. Suddenly, the mood shifts and a message is transmitted from the mysterious fleet once again. This time, it's a direct challenge, one that Hayes knows he cannot ignore. The trial is simple. Show us that you deserve your place in this galaxy. Do not fail. The transmission ends. Hayes exhales slowly, realizing that this is no longer a simple diplomatic negotiation. This is a test of humanity's resilience, strength, and will to survive. With the challenge set, the entire galaxy begins to react. Humanity's allies are split. Some support the diplomatic approach, while others believe the fleet represents the mortal threat. Warships are mobilizing, and tensions flare in every system. What began as a quest for peace is now a battle for survival. Hayes, now faced with the reality of an impending galactic conflict, knows that he must make the ultimate decision. It's not just about humanity anymore. It's about the fate of every living being in the galaxy. Hayes, we're not just fighting for our survival. We're fighting for the right to exist in the future. We need to show them we're not just another species to be forgotten. The human fleet begins its preparations alongside allies from the Galactic Alliance as they prepare to meet the unknown force head-on. But as they take their positions in space, a new transmission arrives from the mysterious fleet, a message that chills everyone to the bone. The time has come to prove your worth. The trial is not about victory. It is about your resolve. If you fail, there will be no escape from the consequences. Prepare yourselves. The final moments before the confrontation arrive, and Hayes stands on the bridge of Titan's Hope, looking out over the battle fleet. The unknown fleet looms in the distance, an eerie silence hanging between them. But Hayes knows that the galaxy is on the edge of something far greater than a simple war. The camera zooms in on his face, his eyes filled with determination, knowing that whatever happens next, humanity's place in the galaxy will be forever changed. Hayes, we don't fight for glory. We fight for survival. And today, humanity will stand against the unknown, no matter what it costs. The human fleet positions itself at the edge of the mysterious fleet's territory. Tension thickens the air as both sides prepare for an inevitable clash. The Galactic Council, still at odds with the situation, watches in silence. The unspoken fear is real. If this battle truly begins, it could spark a war unlike any before. No one is sure who will win, or what the consequences might be. On the bridge of Titan's Hope, Hayes stands in front of the main view screen, his eyes narrowing as the unknown fleet moves into position. Their ships are enormous, silent, sleek, and unnervingly perfect in their design. A quiet dread stirs in the pit of his stomach. These are not mere invaders. They are a legacy, an ancient power with the ability to reshape the galaxy. Hayes, this is it. Stay sharp. We don't know what they're capable of, but we need to be ready for anything. The moment is interrupted by a transmission. This time, it's not the same figure. Instead, the voice is different, cold, mechanical. A voice that seems to come from the very depths of space itself. Cool humanity, you have passed the first test by answering the call. Now we will test your resolve. You must face us, not as weaklings, but as warriors. Prepare yourselves. The trial begins now. The transmission cuts off, and the bridge is filled with a mixture of confusion and apprehension. Hayes looks to his crew, wondering what kind of trial they're about to face. Hayes, they want to test our strength. We can't back down. Prepare to engage. We stand together. The unknown fleet makes the first move, sending waves of highly advanced drones toward humanity's fleet. They're not physical weapons, not yet, but they're designed to probe, to test. The drones are nearly invisible, shifting in and out of phase with spacetime, making them difficult to track. It's a game of wits now. Every decision, every move could be the difference between life and death. Hayes watches the tactics unfold on the main screen, his mind racing through every possible scenario. He knows that brute force alone won't win this battle. They need strategy, an understanding of the unknown enemy's weaknesses, their methods. Hayes, target their signal transmission. They rely on communication to control those drones. If we can sever that, they'll be blind. Tactical officer, aye sir. Jamming frequencies now. The crew works in perfect synchrony, the ship's sensors flickering as they disrupt the drone's communications. The drones go chaotic, some losing formation, others malfunctioning. The human fleet capitalizes on this, launching countermeasures and disabling several drones with precision shots. But just as they start to gain an advantage, a new threat emerges. The unknown fleet's massive ships begin to move, cloaked in energy distortions that seem to warp space itself. They release an electromagnetic pulse, disabling the Titan's Hope and several allied vessels temporarily. The battle shifts from strategy to survival. Hayes, this isn't over yet. Hold your ground. We're not backing down. As the battle rages on, a shocking new development unfolds. The unknown fleet's leader, the mysterious figure from before, appears again on the main view screen. This time, his voice is filled with something darker, colder. You have fought well, humans. But now comes the true test. Your fleet, your weapons, your alliances, they will not matter. We will test your very souls. Are you truly worthy of survival? Before Hayes can respond, the figure's ship opens fire, plasma beams that seem to tear at the very fabric of space-time itself, hitting the Titan's Hope with such force that the entire ship shakes violently. The bridge is rocked, alarms blare, and several systems go offline. Hayes grips the edge of his console, watching the carnage unfold. His face is a mask of defiance, even as the odds grow increasingly dire. Hayes, we're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting to prove we belong here. I won't let them take that from us. He turns to his crew with fire in his eyes. Hayes, this is what we've trained for. We are humanity. We will not bow to these ancient conquerors. Not today. Not ever. The battle escalates beyond anything the galaxy has seen. The humans begin to adapt, using unconventional tactics that surprise even the unknown fleet. They launch surprise strikes, making use of cloaking technology they've stolen from the Galactic Council and set traps in the warp lanes. As the fight continues, it's clear humanity isn't just fighting for its survival. It's fighting for the right to define its future, to assert its place in the galaxy. In the midst of the battle, Hayes and his team realize the true nature of the trial the mysterious fleet has set before them. It's not just about fighting. It's about innovation, adaptability, and proving that humanity's mind and spirit are as formidable as any weapon. Hayes, all ships, I want every last ounce of energy channeled into those warp disruptors. We take them on our terms, not theirs. No. The Titan's Hope becomes a beacon of human ingenuity and resilience. While the unknown fleet fights with ancient power, humanity fights with cunning and creativity, every move calculated, every strike aimed at weakening the ancient empire's advantage. The battle stretches into days, both fleets battered but unyielding. The unknown fleet's ships are impressive, their technology beyond human comprehension, but the human fleet has something that can't be measured: determination and an unwavering will to protect their home and their future. Finally, after a decisive counterattack, the unknown fleet halts its advance. The mysterious figure appears once more on the screen, this time appearing visibly frustrated. You have shown us a strength we did not expect. You fight differently from the other species we have encountered, with heart. Perhaps there is more to humanity than we thought. Hayes, we fight to survive. And when it comes to survival, we don't back down. The trial is over. You have passed. We will allow you to remain in the galaxy. Your species will be watched, but you have earned your place. However, know this, we will return. The galaxy is vast, and others will come for you. Be ready. The transmission cuts off, leaving the room in stunned silence. Hayes stands, staring at the screen, his mind racing. The battle may have ended, but the true challenge is just beginning. The battle's conclusion sends shockwaves through the Galactic Alliance. While some factions within the Alliance applaud humanity's tenacity, others fear what this victory means for the balance of power. Hayes stands at his quarters, looking out at the stars, reflecting on what just transpired. The weight of leadership is heavier than ever before. Humanity has made its mark, but at what cost? Back on Earth, the news of the battle spreads like wildfire. People cheer, but behind their celebration, questions linger. What comes next? Who are these ancient entities? What does the future hold for a species that's just begun to flex its muscles on a galactic stage? The Titan's Hope returns to a quiet space station, its crew exhausted, but victorious. They've won the battle, but many are aware that the war is far from over. Hayes assembles his senior officers to discuss their next steps. Hayes, we've been given a gift, a seat at the table of the galaxy. But with that comes danger. They've seen what we can do. Now we need to prepare for what they'll throw at us next. Lieutenant Kendra, what if we're being watched? What if they're just waiting for the right moment to strike again? Hayes, that's exactly what I think. They want to see how we handle the pressure. They want to know if we'll break. and we can't afford to give them that satisfaction. There's a long pause, and the officers exchange wary glances. Hayes looks around the room, meeting each of their eyes, showing the resolve in his own. Hayes, we've made allies, yes. But we also have enemies who will stop at nothing to see us fail. The question is, how do we fight when they start looking for our weaknesses? In the following weeks, a series of clandestine meetings begin. Representatives of Earth's government reach out to lesser-known alien factions, forging new alliances that could prove crucial in the battles to come. They meet in secret, behind closed doors, away from the prying eyes of the Galactic Council. But not everyone is on board with this approach. One such meeting takes place in the depths of the Titan's Hope during a high-level summit between humans and a mysterious species known only as the Venin. These beings are known for their cunning intelligence and cryptic agendas. Though they are reclusive by nature, their technological advancements could give humanity the edge it needs in the war to come. Venin Ambassador, you've shown great strength, human. But strength is not enough. To survive, you will need more than just weapons. You need power, true power. And that power lies in alliances with those who understand how to manipulate the system. Hayes, what exactly do you mean by that? We don't need more manipulation, we need solid allies. Venin Ambassador, of course, of course. Well, you must understand that the galaxy is not just about who is stronger or who has the bigger fleet. It's about who knows how to play the game, who knows when to strike and when to retreat. To survive, you must make decisions others cannot predict. Hayes, and that's what we've been doing all along. What do you propose? The Venin's smile was unreadable, but Hayes could feel the weight of the ambassador's words. These were not empty promises. In their silence, there was a power that humanity could either exploit or be consumed by. The question was whether they could trust these new allies, or if they were just being used as pawns in a larger game. Weeks pass, and the human fleet continues to strengthen its position within the galactic structure. But in the shadows of space, the Grunig, whose brutal tactics and world-destroying bioweapons have struck fear across the galaxy, are regrouping. They know the humans are a threat, and they will stop at nothing to extinguish that threat before it grows. One of their ships, a massive warship called the Grunig Leviathan, emerges from the depths of uncharted space. It's a warship unlike anything the galaxy has seen before, its hull covered in strange alien symbols, and its engines humming with the power of an ancient weapon. The Grunig have found their answer to humanity's resistance. They'll bring war to Earth itself. On the Titan's Hope, Hayes and his officers receive an urgent transmission. It's a warning from a scout ship on the outer edge of Earth's system. Scout Ship Commander Ambassador Hayes, you need to see this. We've spotted the Grunig fleet, and they're moving fast. If we don't act now, Earth will be ground zero for a new kind of war. Hayes takes a deep breath, his fingers gripping the armrest of his chair. It's happening again. But this time, there will be no surprise. This time, humanity will be ready. Prepare the fleet. It's time to take the fight to them. The final battle begins. The Grunig fleet is relentless, but humanity's response is equally fierce. The battle for Earth becomes a sprawling, intense conflict. Ships clash, space itself seems to tear apart as the weapons of two ancient forces collide. The Grunig Leviathan leads the charge, its massive weapons tearing apart human defenses. But Hayes and his crew are undeterred, launching surprise strikes, using every tactic at their disposal. In the midst of the chaos, Hayes faces a crucial decision, whether to risk everything on a final or nothing strike that could either cripple the Grunig or lead to total destruction. He looks out over the battlefield, his mind racing as the seconds tick by. Hayes, this is it. This is our moment. With one final push, the human fleet converges on the Grunig Leviathan. The battle culminates in a massive explosion as humanity's greatest weapon, a new form of energy cannon developed with the help of their alien allies, strikes the heart of the Leviathan. The Grunig fleet falters, and humanity has claimed victory. The dust of battle settles, but the victory is bittersweet. The remnants of the Grunig fleet drift through space like debris, their once mighty warships crippled and broken. The Titan's Hope returns to Earth's orbit, scarred but victorious, while the crew watches the debris field on their monitors. They've won, but at what cost? Ambassador Hayes sits in his quarters, staring at the report on his desk. The battle has left deep scars, not just on the battlefield, but within the hearts and minds of those who fought. The Earth has become a target, and the enemies that remain are far more dangerous than they appear. Yet there's a strange calm in the room, as if everyone knows the war is only just beginning. Hayes, we've survived, but now they'll be watching us. We've shown our hand, and I think we've made a few new enemies in the process. The Galactic Council convenes to address the aftermath of the Grunig conflict. Representatives from across the galaxy, still reeling from the devastation of the Grunig War, discuss how to handle the rise of humanity in the galactic arena. Some speak of fear, others of admiration. Some call for peace talks, others demand retribution for the chaos humanity's rise has caused. On the screen, an alien representative from a species known as the Chassis speaks first. His long, reptilian form glows faintly as he addresses the assembly. Chassis representative, the humans have proven themselves capable of great destruction. But I ask, what happens if they turn this capability upon us? How do we know that they won't seek to dominate the galaxy in the same way the Grunig tried to? There's a murmur of agreement from several other species. Hayes watches the assembly, his face impassive but his mind working overtime. He knows that every eye is on Earth now, some filled with hope, others with fear. Hayes, we're not here to conquer anyone. We're not here to start a war. But we've seen what happens when peace is misused. If the galaxy is going to thrive, it needs to accept one thing: humanity isn't afraid of standing up for what's right. And we won't be bullied into submission. The Chassis' eyes narrow, clearly unimpressed, but there's a flicker of respect in his gaze. As the Council debates humanity's place in the galaxy, darker forces are stirring in the deepest corners of space. A hidden faction, one that has existed for centuries in the shadow of galactic politics, is watching the developments with growing interest. These shadowy figures, who call themselves the Daughters of the Void, are led by a mysterious figure known only as the Null. The Null's identity is unknown to all, but their influence has reached into the furthest corners of the galaxy. They have waited for a moment like this, when a new species, like humanity, rises up with the potential to challenge the established order. Their agenda is unclear, but their intentions are anything but peaceful. The Daughters of the Void have infiltrated key systems in the Galactic Council, manipulating events behind the scenes to ensure their own rise to power. And now they send a message to Earth. Hayes received a cryptic transmission late one night, an encrypted message that shakes him to his core. The transmission shows an image of a galaxy far away, darkened by the absence of light. A voice, cold and mechanical, speaks. The Null humanity's actions have been noted. You have proven your strength, but strength alone is meaningless. It is your choices that will define your fate. Be careful, human, or you may find yourself caught in a war far greater than you understand. We have watched you. We know what you're capable of. The transmission cuts off abruptly, leaving Hayes staring at the blank screen. He knows that the Daughters of the Void are far from a simple threat. They are calculating, ruthless, and have already positioned themselves to exploit humanity's every weakness. The balance of power is shifting, and humanity is now a pawn in a much larger game. The following weeks are a blur of strategy and preparation. Hayes and his senior officers begin to realize that the Council may not be their biggest threat. They are dealing with something far more dangerous, an organization that has quietly manipulated galactic events for centuries, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And now humanity's rise has triggered that moment. As the Titan's hope prepares for what seems like an inevitable conflict with the Daughters of the Void, Earth's allies, those who have supported humanity in its rise begin to grow uneasy. Some fear the unknown strength of this new faction, while others are wary of getting too involved in a war they don't fully understand. Humanity is alone at the top of the food chain, but the view is getting more treacherous with every passing day. Hayes, they've shown us what they're capable of. The Daughters of the Void won't stop. We've seen their power, and we've heard their warning. But here's the truth, we're not backing down. No matter what they throw at us, we'll stand our ground. The universe is big, but Earth is ours, and we'll fight for it. The war against the Daughters of the Void is unlike anything humanity has ever faced. Their forces move swiftly, striking at key systems across the galaxy with surgical precision. They use fear, misinformation, and psychological warfare to manipulate public opinion, sowing distrust between allies. But humanity, now united by its experience with the Grunig conflict, refuses to bend. In space, the Titan's hope leads the charge once again, this time against an enemy that operates from the shadows. The Daughters of the Void are elusive, their ships are cloaked, and their tactics are designed to tear at the fabric of the galaxy itself. But the human fleet adapts quickly, using guerrilla warfare and intelligence tactics learned from their previous conflicts. The final confrontation with the Daughters of the Void takes place in the heart of a dying star system, where time itself seems to warp under the pressure of an unstable gravitational field. Here, the fate of the galaxy will be decided. Hayes stands on the command deck of the Titan's Hope, staring at the star that looms in front of them. His crew stands by, ready for what is to come. They have fought to get here, and now they must finish what they started. Hayes, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the future of every sentient species in the galaxy. This ends today. The final battle approaches. The Titan's Hope has entered the dying star system, the place where the Daughters of the Void have staged their most recent offensive. The gravitational pull of the unstable star warp space around him, causing turbulence throughout the fleet. As Hayes and his crew prepare for the impending clash, there's a palpable sense of urgency. Time is running out. Hayes, this isn't just about us anymore. This is for every race, every species that doesn't even know what's coming. The Daughters of the Void aren't just after Earth. They're after all of us. They want to remake the galaxy in their image, using fear and manipulation as their tools. We won't let them. On the bridge, the crew readies the weapons systems. Officers work in tandem, their movements swift and practiced. Tensions are high as they approach the heart of the conflict, knowing that this could be their final mission. In the heart of the dying system, the Titan's Hope detects a strange anomaly. As they approach, they're met with the sight of a massive, cloaked station, its presence hidden by the intense gravitational field of the nearby star. But the ship's sensors can't be fooled. The station is there, quiet waiting. Suddenly, a transmission cuts through the interference, and the haunting voice of the Null echoes across the bridge. The Null, you've come far, human. But you have no idea what you're up against. You believe you're fighting for survival, but this is something much bigger than you. You've just crossed into a battle you can't win. Hayes clenches his fists, his voice cold but defiant. Hayes, we've already won. You underestimate us, and that's your mistake. You wanted to control the galaxy, but you've underestimated what it means to be human. We fight for more than just ourselves. And we don't lose. The Null's voice cracks through the static, a chilling laugh that sends shivers down the spine of everyone on a bridge. The Null, you think your spirit will save you? You think you can stop us with sheer will? You are already too late. The galaxy is ours. You were just too blind to see it. The void will swallow you whole. As the transmission ends, the station lights up, revealing its true form, a colossal warship far beyond the size of anything the Titan's Hope has ever faced. The ship's dark, angular shape seems to swallow the light around it, as if made from the very darkness itself. The battle erupts suddenly. The Titan's Hope launches into action, firing its weapons and taking evasive maneuvers as the Daughters of the Void's massive warship begins to fire upon them with precision. Explosions echo across space as the two ships engage in a deadly dance. The human fleet, while outgunned, is determined and fierce. The crew of the Titan's Hope knows the stakes. They can't afford to lose this fight. Every shot they take, every maneuver they make could be their last. But their resolve is unshakable. The enemy may be powerful, but they've seen too much to let fear control them now. Hayes, focus all fire on their shield generators. Take down their ability to fight back, and we'll have a shot at boarding. We end this here and now. The Titan's Hope fires a concentrated burst of energy, hitting the enemy warship's shield. It flickers, briefly destabilizing, and Hayes seizes the opportunity. The Titan's Hope manages to create a breach in the enemy's defenses. With the enemy warship weakened, Hayes orders a boarding mission to take the fight directly to the heart of the Daughters of the Void. The crew of the Titan's Hope mobilizes in full combat gear, preparing to board the enemy vessel. As they make their way to the shuttle bay, Hayes takes a moment to look out over the battlefield, watching as their ships continue to engage the enemy in a fiery clash. Hayes, remember, this is not just a fight for our lives. It's a fight for the future of every living being in this galaxy. We finish this fight, or we let them dictate the future. The shuttle docks with the Daughters of the Void's warship, and Hayes and his team board the vessel. The corridors are dark, twisted, and eerily silent. The technology is alien, far beyond anything humanity has ever encountered. The walls pulse with a strange energy, and the very air seems heavy with dread. As they move deeper into the ship, they find signs of the Void's influence, alien symbols etched into walls, rooms filled with strange machinery that hums with life. They're walking into the heart of the enemy's power. Hayes, stay sharp, everyone. We don't know what we're dealing with here. Suddenly, they are ambushed. A swarm of shadowy figures, cloaked in the same dark energy as the station, rushes toward them. The fight is brutal. These beings are fast, almost too fast for the humans to keep up. But the soldiers of Earth are ready for anything. They fight with everything they have because failure is not an option. During the chaos, Hayes makes his way toward the central command room, determined to find the null and end this once and for all. As Hayes and his team breach the central chamber, they find a tall humanoid figure standing before them. Cloaked in dark robes, the null is a presence like none Hayes has ever felt before. There's something unnatural about the way they stand, frozen, yet almost alive with power. The null turns to face Hayes, their face obscured by a dark helmet that seems to absorb the light around it. But Hayes feels their eyes, cold, calculating, and filled with an endless void of knowledge. The null, you should have never come here. This is your final mistake, human. Hayes, I've made mistakes before, but not this time. This ends here. The null steps forward, and the very air around them warps with energy. With a flick of their hand, the entire room erupts into chaos. Energy surges through the walls, and the ground shakes. But Hayes doesn't falter. He knows this is the moment, the final confrontation that will decide the fate of the galaxy. The two clash in a brutal struggle, Hayes with all the strength and skill of a seasoned soldier, the null with the dark power of the void itself. Each blow echoes through the ship as their forces collide, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. In the end, it is humanity's will that prevails. With one final desperate strike, Hayes disables the core of the ship, causing the station to destabilize. The null's form flickers and fades as the ship begins to implode, collapsing in on itself. The Titan's hope escapes the collapsing star system, battered but victorious. The Daughters of the Void have been defeated, but as the crew looks to the future, they know the war is not over. There will always be new enemies, new challenges. The galaxy is vast, and it will never be the same. As Hayes stands on the bridge, looking out into the stars, he knows one thing for certain: humanity will continue to fight for its place in the universe. Hayes, we'll make it. No matter what comes next, we'll make it. The Titan's hope sails through the shattered remnants of the Void Station, the echoes of the battle still reverberating in the cold, silent space. The stars beyond seem distant, almost unreachable. The human fleet is battered, but still standing. The Daughters of the Void have been defeated, but the war, if it could even be called that, is far from over. Hayes, this is the beginning of something bigger. We've won today, but we're not finished. The Void may be silent for now, but there are others out there watching. The galaxy is full of threats, old and new. The crew stands in quiet reflection, knowing that while the war with the Void has ended, the journey ahead will require everything they have. Days after the victory, a quiet message arrives from an unknown source. The transmission is fragmented, broken with static, but the words are clear enough to send chills down their spines. Unknown voice, you think you've won. But there is more than one darkness in the galaxy. The Void was only a piece of the puzzle. Prepare yourselves. The message cuts off abruptly. Silence fills the room. Hayes sits in his chair, the weight of the words hanging in the air. The crew watches him, waiting for his next command. Hayes, we were warned. The Daughters of the Void were just one piece of something bigger. We don't know what we're facing, but we're going to find out. The Titan's hope heads to a remote system, where ancient ruins are rumored to contain knowledge of a civilization long lost. The ruins, believed to predate the formation of the Galactic Council itself, may hold clues to the new threat they are about to face. On the surface of the abandoned planet, the crew explores dark, decaying structures, their lights cutting through the dusty corridors. The air is thick with history, and the silence is almost oppressive. Lieutenant Mason, these structures are older than anything we've seen. This civilization, whatever they were, had knowledge of something far beyond us. Hayes, it's not just about the technology. It's the people who built these things. If we can understand them, maybe we can understand what we're up against. The crew stumbles upon a massive chamber deep beneath the surface. The walls are lined with cryptic symbols, but the center of the room is something even more shocking. A gigantic, dormant machine, its purpose unclear, but its power undeniable. Mason, this is beyond anything we could have imagined. It's like it was built to last forever. Hayes, Whatever it is, it's connected to whatever comes next. And if it's a weapon, we need to understand it before it understands us. As they examine the ancient machine, something shifts. The ground shakes slightly, a low hum emanating from the depths of the structure. The machine begins to pulse with strange energy. Hayes orders an immediate evacuation, but it's too late. The machine activates, sending a shockwave of energy through the planet. Back on the ship, alarms blare as the Titan's hope shakes under the strain of the shockwave. Hayes, what the hell is going on? Navigator Rhodes, the energy readings are off the charts, Captain. It's like the entire system is being pulled into some sort of pocket dimension. The crew looks out of the planet, which is now being engulfed by a swirling, dark vortex. The very fabric of space seems to warp and twist, pulling everything toward it like a massive black hole. But this is no natural event. This is something engineered. Hayes, we need to get out of here. The Titan's hope struggles to escape the gravitational pull of the vortex, but the power of the machine is overwhelming. The ship's engines roar as they push everything to the limit, but the rift keeps pulling them closer. It's a race against time, one that they might not win. As they break free of the planet's atmosphere, the crew watches in horror as the entire planet, along with the ruins and the machine, are sucked into the rift, disappearing without a trace. Hayes, whatever this is, it's not just a weapon. It's a message, and we need to understand it before it's too late. Back at the Galactic Council, news of the strange rift spreads quickly. Representatives from several species demand an explanation, and accusations fly. Some suspect that the Titan's hope had something to do with the event, while others believe that a new faction is behind it. Ambassador Hayes is called to the council chambers, where he faces a panel of leaders from across the galaxy. Counselor Call, you've done well to stop the Daughters of the Void human, but this is something else entirely. We don't know if you or your ship are responsible, but we need answers. What did you find? Hayes, I can tell you one thing, we didn't start it. But what we found, it's something much older and much more dangerous. A weapon, yes, but also a signal. Whoever is behind this, they're trying to send us a message. And I believe they're not finished. The council is silent, the gravity of Hayes' words sinking in. Hayes, I don't know what this is, but I know one thing, the war isn't over. Not by a long shot. As Hayes and his crew return to the Titan's hope, they prepare for what lies ahead. The rift is just the beginning, and the galaxy is now facing a new, unknowable enemy. But Hayes knows that humanity's spirit cannot be broken. They'll find answers, and they'll fight back. But as they leave the council chambers, Hayes receives another transmission, this one from a distant, unknown ship. We are the Harbingers, and you have awoken us. More, please. ChatGPT, Zay. ChatGPT. Sure. Let's continue. The Titan's hope moves through space at full speed, heading toward the coordinates given by the cryptic transmission. The crew is on edge, uncertain of what they will encounter. The message from the Harbingers is enough to send a ripple of fear through the fleet, but also a sense of urgency. Hayes stands in front of the crew, briefing them before they approach their destination. Hayes, we don't know who or what these Harbingers are, but we know they're not friendly. They've been waiting, and now they're awake. We're going to find out what they want, and we're going to make sure they don't get what they're after. Lieutenant Mason, standing at the controls, looks back at him with a worried expression. Mason, Captain, if they've been waiting this long, we might be dealing with something far older and more dangerous than we can imagine. Are we sure we're ready for this? Hayes, no. But we've never been ready for anything before. And we survived. The crew nods, steeling themselves for what lies ahead. The Titan's hope drops out of faster-than-light travel into an uncharted system, the coordinates eerily silent. The stars seem colder here, more distant, as if the very space around them is holding its breath. Suddenly, a massive ship, an ancient and towering behemoth, appears out of nowhere. It dwarfed the Titan's hope, its hull marked with strange symbols. Mason, that's not just old, it's alien. The ship hails them with a single haunting tone that vibrates through the ship's very bones. Hayes takes a deep breath, then motions for the comms officer to answer. Hayes, this is Captain Hayes of the Titan's Hope. We've received your message. What do you want? The voice that responds is calm, yet unsettling. Harbinger, we are the Harbingers. You have opened the door, and now you must face the consequences. You humans are the key. You are the link between the stars and the darkness that awaits. Hayes, you've been waiting for us. What do you mean, the key? Harbinger, the key to everything. To life, to death, to the universe itself. You will see soon enough. The transmission cuts off abruptly, leaving the crew in stunned silence. The presence of the Harbinger ship feels oppressive, as though it is watching them, waiting for something to happen. The Titan's Hope is surrounded by a strange energy field as they approach the Harbinger ship. The very fabric of space seems to distort, the stars warping around them as if time itself is bending. The crew struggles to maintain control as strange, shadowy figures appear at the edges of their vision. Mason, Captain, we're being pulled in. Whatever this thing is, it's messing with our systems. Hey, stay with me, people. We've handled worse. We're not going to let some shadowy alien force scare us into submission. Despite his words, Hayes can feel the pressure building. The Harbinger ship pulses with dark energy, and suddenly, a voice booms through the ship, not over the comms, but inside their minds. Harbinger, you think you can resist the inevitable, but you are merely playing the game. We will show you the true cost of defiance. The ship lurches violently as energy blasts hit the hull, warning lights flashing across the bridge. The crew is thrown into chaos, struggling to maintain their positions. Mason, we're not going to last at this rate. We need to pull back. Hayes, we don't have time for retreat. Keep pushing forward. We need to break through. As the ship strains under the pressure, an explosion rocks the Titan's Hope, knocking several crew members to the ground. The lights flicker, and for a moment, everything goes black. When they come back on, the crew finds themselves in a different place. The ship is no longer in the vast emptiness of space. Instead, they are surrounded by what looks like an infinite void, filled with swirling dark clouds and strange floating structures. It's as though they've entered a different dimension, one that shouldn't exist. Mason, where the hell are we? Hayes, I don't know, but I don't like it. Suddenly, the Harbingers appear before them, in the form of massive, shadowy beings that seem to flicker in and out of existence. Their eyes glow with an eerie light, their voices filling the minds of the crew. Harbinger, you are standing on the precipice. The veil between dimensions is thin here. The truth of all things lies just beyond your reach. And you are the first to touch it. The crew is frozen, unable to move as the Harbinger's presence fills their minds with visions of destruction, of civilizations falling, of stars dying. It's a vision of the end of everything. Hayes, this is your truth? A dark future where everything burns? You think that's going to scare us? The Harbingers laugh, the sound echoing through their minds like 1,000 whispers. Harbinger, no human. We do not wish to scare you. We wish to show you what is inevitable. Back in the Titan's Hope, the crew begins to stir, the pressure from the Harbinger's presence starting to ease. Hayes clenches his fists, his eyes blazing with determination. Hayes, you can show us whatever you want, but you won't break us. We've fought through worse than this, and we'll fight through whatever you throw at us next. The Harbinger's laughter fades as the shadows around them begin to crack and shimmer, revealing a strange new world, a place where reality itself is in flux. With renewed resolve, Hayes orders his crew to fight back. They activate the ship's weapons, channeling all their energy into breaking free from the Harbinger's hold. Mason, this is our fight now, Captain. Let's show them what humanity's made of. The crew pushes back, using everything at their disposal to break free from the Harbinger's grasp. The battle is just beginning. The Titan's Hope fights through the collapsing reality around them, using their ship's advanced technology to stabilize their position. The Harbinger's influence is powerful, but humanity's will is stronger. The battle rages on, with the crew putting everything they have into surviving. Hayes, hold it together. We've fought through worse. Just keep pushing forward. Mason is working the controls frantically, her hands flying over the console as they take another hit from the Harbinger's energy blasts. Mason, we're losing power. The shields are down to 20%. We need to get out of here, Captain. Hayes, we're not running. Not now. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the chaos, sharp and clear. Harbinger, your defiance is admirable, human, but futile. You cannot win this fight. The war has already been decided. The Harbinger ship shifts its form, expanding into a monstrous, unrecognizable shape, its shadow swallowing the entire Titan's Hope in an instant. Hayes, Mason, and the crew brace for impact, but then the crew is flung into a deep, disorienting silence. For a moment, they think they've been lost to the void. But then something unexpected happens. The Harbinger's presence weakens, the oppressive weight lifting from the ship. Mason, wait, what just happened? The view screen flickers, and they see something they did not expect. Another ship, far larger than the Titan's Hope, but with the same human-made insignia as theirs. The ship is firing on the Harbinger vessel. Hayes, that's the Sovereign's Fury, one of ours. The comms crackle to life with a voice familiar, yet commanding, filled with authority. Admiral Thorne, Captain Hayes, it's good to see you're still alive. We've been tracking the Harbingers for months. You're not alone in this fight anymore. Hayes looks stunned as the Sovereign's Fury fires another round at the Harbinger ship, causing the massive enemy vessel to flinch. The battle has just shifted in their favor. Back on the Titan's Hope, Hayes grins, his tension easing for the first time since they entered the Harbinger's domain. Hayes, Admiral Thorne, it's about time. How did you find us? Admiral Thorne, you weren't exactly subtle, Captain. The moment you sent out that distress call, we mobilized everything we could. The Alliance wasn't just going to let the Harbingers have their way. Mason, you mean the entire Alliance knew about this? Admiral Thorne, not exactly. But we've been monitoring this sector for some time now. The Harbingers have been making moves, and we've been getting ready for this day. You were the spark, Captain. The entire fleet is on standby, ready to make their move. The comms flicker again, and a dozen more ships appear on the view screen, human, alien, and a mixture of the two, surrounding the Harbinger vessel. Admiral Thorne, this is it. We take down the Harbingers today. The war is on. The Titan's Hope, alongside the fleet led by the Sovereign's Fury, moves in to engage the Harbinger ship. The Harbingers aren't giving up easily. They unleash swarms of deadly alien fighters that fill the space around them like a cloud of locusts. Mason, we've got incoming, hundreds of them. The crew braces for impact as the Titan's Hope fires its weapons, cutting through the enemy fighters. The ship rocks with each explosion, but they hold steady. Hayes grips the armrest of his command chair, his eyes fixed on the fight unfolding outside. Hayes, let's show them what it means to mess with humanity. The battle rages on, with the Alliance ships taking heavy fire, but pushing forward nonetheless. The Harbinger vessel's shields are failing, and it's clear that they're starting to lose their grip on the fight. Just as it seems the tide has turned in their favor, the Harbingers make their final desperate move. A massive energy pulse erupts from their ship, hitting the Titan's Hope directly. The ship groans under the force, and the crew is thrown into chaos again. Mason, we're taking critical damage. Shields are failing. Hayes stares at the rapidly depleting energy readings on the console, but he doesn't flinch. He slams a fist on the control panel. Hayes, we're not stopping now. All hands, brace for impact. We're taking this thing down. With one final coordinated attack from the combined forces of the fleet, the Harbinger ship's core destabilizes. A massive explosion rips through space as the ship collapses into itself, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The Harbinger fleet retreats into the shadows, vanishing from view. The Titan's Hope is battered, but intact. The crew breathes a collective sigh of relief, knowing that they've won for now. Mason, we did it. We actually did it. Hayes, this isn't over yet. The Harbingers are only one part of a much larger threat. But we've shown them that humanity doesn't back down. And now they know what it means to face us. As the crew celebrates their victory, Hayes stands alone on the bridge, staring out at the debris from the battle. A new transmission comes in, this time from an unknown source. Hayes, this is Captain Hayes. The face that appears on the screen is familiar, but it sends a chill through Hayes' spine. It's the same Harbinger leader from before, but something is different. Harbinger leader, you may have won this battle, human. But the war is far from over. There are forces beyond your comprehension that will rise. And when they do, you will regret ever defying us. The transmission cuts off abruptly, leaving Hayes with a sense of foreboding that he can't shake. Hayes, this is far from over. The Titan's Hope drifts through space, battered but functional. The crew is exhausted, but the mood is bittersweet. They've won a major victory, but the ominous warning from the Harbinger leader weighs heavily on their minds. Hayes stands on a bridge, his hands clasped behind his back as he stares out into the endless void. Hayes, we've won the battle, But what if they're right? What if we've just become a target for something worse? Mason enters, still catching her breath from the recent chaos. She's holding a data pad, a report of the battle's aftermath. Mason, Captain, the fleet's been patched up, but we've got some serious losses. Several of our allies took heavy damage. We'll need time to recover. Hayes, we're not getting time. The Harbingers will be back, and if what they said is true, if there are forces out there we don't even understand. Before he can finish, a sharp voice cuts in through the comms. Lieutenant O'Neill, Captain Hayes, you need to see this. Hayes and Mason exchange a glance before heading to the ship's command center. On the large screen, a new transmission appears. It's from the Galactic Council. Galactic Council representative, Captain Hayes, we are aware of your recent actions against the Harbingers. Your success is commendable, but we must remind you that your actions have consequences. A formal inquiry will be conducted, and the Council will decide whether your aggressive tactics align with the Alliance's interests. The Council representative's expression remains emotionless, but Hayes feels the weight of their words. Hayes, I did what had to be done. The Harbingers didn't leave us any other option. Regardless, we must stress that the Alliance is a diplomatic body. You've acted unilaterally, Captain, and that cannot go unchallenged. The transmission cuts off before Hayes can respond. Mason looks at him, concern etched on her face. Mason, they're not happy. Hayes, they're never happy. Days pass, and the Titan's hope continues its journey through space, but the tension is palpable. The crew knows the Council's inquiry is coming. Hayes spends most of his time in his quarters, reviewing data and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. He's interrupted by a knock on his door. Mason, Captain, you're needed in the briefing room. Hayes doesn't respond immediately, his fingers tapping a rhythmic beat on his desk. Hayes, they want to reprimand me, but they don't understand. If they only knew the bigger picture. Mason raises an eyebrow. Mason, Hayes, don't do this. We've fought side by side with the Alliance for years. Whatever they throw at you, we'll handle it. But if you keep this up, you'll lose their trust. Hayes stands up slowly, turning to face her, his eyes hard and calculating. Hayes, sometimes, Mason, trust doesn't win wars. The briefing room is quiet, with representatives from several species of the Galactic Council present. They stand in a semicircle, with Hayes at the center. The tension is thick, and everyone is waiting for the Council's decision. Galactic Council representative, Captain Hayes, you've disregarded protocol. Your actions against the Harbingers were reckless and unsanctioned. But we also acknowledge your results. The Harbinger fleet is decimated, and the galaxy is safer because of it. Hayes stands tall, unwavering under their gaze. Hayes, I did what I had to do to protect the Alliance. Sometimes, doing the right thing doesn't come with permission. The representative nods, not disagreeing, but clearly unsettled by Hayes's bluntness. Galactic Council representative, we will take your actions into consideration, Captain. However, there are other matters at hand. Something far more dangerous than the Harbingers is at play. Hayes straightens, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. Hayes, what do you mean? Galactic Council representative, there are ancient prophecies that have recently resurfaced. We've been investigating the return of a dark force, one that threatens all sentient life in this galaxy. A force that the Harbingers may be merely a part of. Mason, standing beside Hayes, looks shocked. Mason, a prophecy? What does that have to do with the Harbingers? The representative turns to a nearby holographic display. Images flicker to life, depicting strange, ancient symbols, celestial patterns, and a dark, ominous figure. Galactic Council representative, this figure, known as the Shadow King, is said to rise once more, bringing with him an army of destruction. The Harbingers were only the harbingers of what's to come. If the Shadow King has returned, then the galaxy is in grave danger. Hayes feels the weight of the words settle over him. The familiar war they've been fighting, the Harbingers, now seems like a prelude to a much larger, more catastrophic battle. The Council continues to discuss strategy, but Hayes can't focus on their plans. The Shadow King. Something about that name sent a chill down his spine. Later, in the quiet of the briefing room, Hayes and Mason stand by the viewport, looking out at the stars. Mason, do you think it's true? This Shadow King. Hayes, I don't know. But I can feel it. There's something coming, and we need to be ready. He turns to her, determination set in his features. Hayes, get the crew ready. We may be about to face the fight of our lives. The fleet, now under Hayes' command, moves toward the heart of the galaxy, where intelligence suggests the Shadow King's forces are gathering. The crew prepares for battle, knowing that this is a fight unlike any they've faced before. As they approach their destination, Hayes knows one thing for certain: whatever happens, humanity will not go down without a fight. End card. The Shadow King stirs. A greater threat looms on the horizon. Humanity stands at the edge of a war unlike any before. Will they survive? Will the galaxy fall? Let me know if you want to continue the saga.